Okay, let's dive in. This is going to be a little lesson in media literacy and just how we use the internet in the world that we live in, and how we have better, not just body image and self-esteem, but how we use online spaces to actually help us grow, not just to, I guess, stop them from holding us back. I think what we think about a lot of times in social media is like, oh, it doesn't make me feel good. I should just like get off of it. And love that idea, but don't think it's realistic for most people these days. So I want to talk about kind of how to know what's going on the internet and sort through the bullshit, like really know how to use it in a way that benefits you, because there is so much good information and beauty online, as we know. But yeah, so the whole goal here is just to give you the tools that you need to recognize the tricks and tactics that social media uses sometimes that create some really unrealistic beauty standards, that you can compare yourself less and cultivate more of that like self-acceptance and body love, and also use online spaces for your own growth. We'll talk about that, but there's a lot of learning that can be done online if we don't get caught up in all of the bullshit. Sound good? Amazing. Okay. Before we dive in, what I like to do on a lot of these calls is to set just a really quick intention for ourselves. I think that this is something that helps us get a lot more out of this, also helps you do what I'm about to teach you how to do, which is take what you need from something like this and kind of leave the rest, because everything I say will not necessarily be exactly what you need to hear, but there will be some things that you hear or you learn that are useful to you. And it is important, even in these self-love, body positive kind of spaces, to know what to take on and what to not, because everyone's experience is different. So when we set an intention that is unique to ourselves, we gather a lot more from this. And really the way that I like to do that is just, I like to ask you to ask yourself, why did I show up to this call today? Like, what about this topic sounded interesting to me? What about this topic stood out to me as something I need to learn? And we'll take like 2 or 3 minutes to do that. If you guys want to chat your intentions in, you are so welcome to do that. I will chat mine in so you can read it, but then I'll also read it out loud. But yeah, why did you show up to this call today? What are you hoping to get out of it or to learn? I'll give you a moment to think while I don't talk. I put this in our little chat, but my intention is obviously to be here and guide you. But for myself, I want to know what I don't know about social media. I want to remind myself that there is so much online that I don't understand or that I don't even realize is happening. And so therefore to remind myself that I can't compare my imperfect, messy life to someone else's like surface level or essentially like a manufactured image or life or personality that they put out on the internet. So that's my intention there. And would love to hear what you guys have as well if you're open to sharing. But it's always nice to kind of have that clarity. But yeah, with that in mind, we're going to go through just kind of the unrealistic expectations that social media gives us. I'm going to share 4 different kind of behind the scenes things that I don't think a lot of people know are happening online, that I've seen as someone who's been in the social media space for 7 years now, actually, have used this professionally for 5. And there's still so much I don't know, but there's so much I see that is just like, oh my gosh, it's scary sometimes. So we're going to go through 4 of those major ones, and then I've got more I could share. And then we're going to talk about kind of how to sort through all the bullshit and give you some tips to kind of curate your feed, have some more media literacy, know what you don't know, which is a life skill overall. And then we'll figure out kind of what that looks like for your individual process. I do want to read one of the intentions in the chat right now. Mm, yeah. So it says, I think social media is an innately personal space while simultaneously being one of the most public spaces ever. I totally understand that. So I wanted to join today to be reminded of the vastness and how many different ways it can be used. Beautiful. Love that. Yes. I always like to say, because I share a lot of my life on social media, the way that I describe it to people when they ask me kind of what that experience is like is that I feel this misunderstanding almost in a way of like, I share so much about my mental health, my physical health, right? And that's something I navigate every day. So for some people online, they have this perception that I share like 95% of my life. And so they assume that they know a lot about me, about who I am or how I am or what I think. And that can feel really like a violation of my personal space sometimes. Or I've had moments on social media where people get very upset with me for making a personal decision. My choosing to no longer be vegan for personal reasons is a great example of this. I always get death threats. Like, I'm so disappointed in you. Like, how can you be disappointed in me? You don't know me, you know? And so it's not so much that I share 95% of my life, it's that I share 95% of one area of my life. And that misconception often causes a lot of people to misunderstand or to compare themselves to people online as well, because we forget that there's so much that we don't see. And just a little example of this is that most influencers or people that you see like that have a following online, especially if their account is not like about their job, like my account is about my job, it's about my mentorships and my coaching work, but the majority of those people, they have regular jobs. Like being an influencer does not pay the bills. And that is a whole other conversation about the misconceptions about the money you get from that. But yeah, I love that intention. It's really important to remember that social media can be used in a lot of ways, including a lot of really amazing ones. And not just like, the positivity out there, but again, how you can learn, how you can meet people. Like I've met so many people because of social media, and it's a beautiful thing. And yeah, there's a lot going on there. There's a bunch of little corners of the internet. So beautiful, amazing. Thank you. Let's dive into some of these unrealistic expectations that I see created because of social media. One of them just being that we know this, but we still feel it, that we get this like idealized version of someone else's life. And I kind of just covered that a little bit in my own experience. I can also say that it is so much easier, as we all know, to share the good times. Like when you are feeling like total crap about yourself, it's not really one of our instincts to be like, let me go put all of my raw emotions on my Instagram story. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not the healthiest coping mechanism, though. But when life is good, right? Like you felt really sexy last night and you took a really good picture, or like you just had your birthday and all of your friends came together and you took a group photo, or you just got a promotion, or you just graduated, whatever it is. We're super excited about something. We share a lot of that. And so we see, again, these highlight reels of other people's lives, and we compare our whole life, which is all of its good things and its challenging things, its pretty things and its imperfections, if we even want to call them that, someone else's highlight reel. And we know this. We know this logically, but it still creates a lot of feelings of inadequacy and comparison in the process, because on an emotional level, it kind of taps into or triggers, for lack of a better word, maybe a belief that we have in ourselves. So we see someone who just got a promotion or they just finished medical school, and our thoughts are, I wish I was as motivated as them. I wish I was as hardworking as them. I wish I had made like a right decision 4 years ago and gone to med school. I regret not doing that, whatever. It's not so much about the person who went to med school or just graduated or got the promotion. It's more of a limiting belief that's revealed within ourselves of like, I don't believe that I'm doing enough in my career. Or if we compare ourselves to what other people's bodies look like, I don't believe that I'm doing enough for my health, or I don't believe that my body is good enough. And it's really interesting to assess those comparisons and go a little bit deeper and see what the real negative self-talk, the real negative belief we're experiencing is, because it's almost never about the other person. But the thing with social media is that we are not meant to be exposed to this much information. We are not meant to know this much about someone else's life, who, especially if it's someone that you've never met, like you never would have known all of the things that you know about them. It is literally an information overload. It is stories that maybe are beautiful to hear when you hear that highlight reel, but they're maybe not stories that you were ever really meant to cross paths with. And it's not a good or a bad thing. It's just you're crossing paths with so many stories that it's really hard to slow down and take what's valuable for you from each lesson, because we're just overwhelmed. There's so much comparison there. So it's these highlight reels that we see versus our real life that we have to live and experience, especially, I mean, not just influencers, but everybody shows their best moments for the most part. And even when they share their vulnerable moments, vulnerability on social media is manufactured. And I can admit to this and speak to it so clearly. Again, when I'm feeling my worst, for me, maybe that's like I'm about to get my period, so my body image is shit. Or I have a neurological condition, like my migraines are flaring up and I literally can't look at a phone screen or get any work done or work out. Or I just had a fight with my best friend, or my parents called and they have some bad news. Whatever it is, even when I share about those things, which I do a lot, I love to talk about the shit that sucks, just so that everybody knows that they're not alone in the suckiness. When I share about those things, like, it's cultivated, and not cultivated in a way that's dishonest, but cultivated in a way that there's just no way for me to tell the entire story. You would have to be in my brain, in my real life with me, in order for me to tell you the whole story, for you to see what I look like walking through my life feeling like crap. And so how much I share and how I share it is intentional. And that intentionality in itself isn't negative. But the comparison that we tend to do in the process is. So even when we don't see the highlight reel, even when we see the low light reel is manufactured in a way as well to protect the person sharing, but also because person sharing is hoping to resonate with others. And so they've written it or shared it in a way that they hope does that. Here's also the aspect of sponsored content that I know we've all seen. I feel like every other post on Instagram these days is an ad. Like, I don't know if I'm alone in that, but everything is an ad. And even if it doesn't say it's an ad, it's clearly an ad, right? Like it's someone wearing something or holding something or doing something. There are rules about how you're supposed to share sponsored content. Like, you're supposed to disclose that. You're supposed to do the little hashtag ad. It's supposed to be one of the first like 3 words in the caption. There's all these rules, and pretty much nothing happens if you don't follow them. So there is so much content that you see that is sponsored in some way. There's some incentive behind that person sharing that, and you are not made aware of it. Even if they say, I just really love this stuff. Like, maybe they do, maybe they don't. They don't really have to be honest with you. There's also so many small creators who do sponsored content. And so maybe they have like 2,000 followers. Maybe it's like a girl you went to high school with who just like low key seems like a model on her Instagram. She's getting gifted stuff. Like, the brands will reach out to them, or they'll reach out to brands and they'll get promoted products. And it creates this false sense of popularity or necessity. I don't know how much we keep up with the like de-influencing trends or like minimalist kind of anti-capitalism trends that are going on, as far as like people being like, you don't need everything you see on TikTok shop. But that's a really interesting movement to me, because it is people starting to share how many like trendy items they have in their closet or in their bathrooms, just because of stuff that was promoted to them on social media. Like, oh my God, who remembers, I think 3 years ago, the gua sha, like the face uh, massagers to give you like a snatched jawline. If you guys remember those being promoted, they were like the absolute everything. And now they still exist. They still exist, but it's not really something you see that much on social media anymore. There's a lot of trends that are caused by sponsored content. I told you I'd give you 4 of these behind the scenes kind of, I don't want to call them like tricks in the sense of like little life hack. I want to call them tricks in the sense that they feel dishonest, but one of them is really related to this, so I want to start there. And I need my little water glass because I'm thirsty. But the first one that I want to talk about is sponsored beauty standards. And that probably sounds a little bit strange, but if we're familiar with how beauty standards and diet culture work, it's that beauty standards exist not just because we want to make some people feel bad about themselves and some people feel good, and that there's actually a ranking of like what beauty is, because beauty is so subjective and it is so much more than appearance. Beauty standards and beauty trends exist because they make someone money. Maybe we know this on a logical level, but I just want to hammer it home. Being skinny wasn't the trend until pretty recently, maybe 60 years ago. And it was when the market was shifting and it became profitable to make people want to be skinny. Because when you make people want to be skinny, you can sell them workout programs, you can sell them juice cleanses, you can sell them skinny teas, you can sell them clothing that only comes in smaller sizes or like works on a smaller body. There are a lot of people who make a lot of money based on you wanting to look a certain way. Another great example is how it wasn't common for women in America to shave their armpits or their legs until one of the world wars, where all of the men went to war and the razor companies needed to sell razors. And so they started marketing to women. It's literally just marketing. But when I say sponsored beauty standards, what I mean by this is combining that sponsored content we were just talking about with the beauty standards that come out. So I'm going to show you something that I find concerning, but I just want us to have a little bit of awareness on this. I just have to pull up all of my 1,000 tabs to show you, but I'm going to zoom in for dramatic effect. Where's my share screen button? Here we go. All right, I think this is what I want to share. Move all my buttons around. All right, so this is a zoomed in web browser right now. As you can see, it says interest over time. And what we're looking at is the term eyebrow blindness. So if we're not familiar, eyebrow blindness is this idea that your eyebrows have looked the same for so long that like you're blind to what's wrong with them. You're blind to them being uneven, or the makeup you're doing being bad, or like you over tweezing them, or them being too big. Doesn't matter. Something about your eyebrows sucks. That's basically the whole message of this. And what I want to show you is that there's a tool that you can use on Google. It's free and it's easy, Google Trends, and you type in a term and it shows you how long it's been popular and how much people are searching for it. So this is eyebrow blindness interest over time. We're starting September 10th, 2023, so 1 year ago. As we can see, February of 2024, 6 months later, still nothing. Still nothing, until all of a sudden, June of 2024, we have this massive spike. And we go, it can't even quantify like how many tens of thousands searches there are. It literally maxes out at 100. But can we just zoom out and look at this graph? Like, eyebrow blindness was not a thing until someone decided it was a thing. And this is not a graph of the world collectively realizing that our eyebrows suck. This is a graph of someone realizing that talking about eyebrow blindness will make them money. Who does eyebrow blindness make money? Makeup companies, brow services, any sort of like service, or even like filters. It doesn't have to be like you directly buy a product. It can just get someone attention. For example, someone that makes one of those filters on TikTok that shows you what your eyebrows look like. There are so many ways in which this trend becoming popular makes someone else money by making you not feel good about yourself. And so when I say sponsored beauty standards, the most insidious part of this to me is that we see a lot of trends that are body related on social media, especially on TikTok, and they come out of nowhere. I know I'm not alone in experiencing that. All of a sudden it's eyebrow blindness. All of a sudden it's the gua sha. All of a sudden it's like a cellulite cream, or it's a bathing suit that makes your waist look snatched. It doesn't matter what it is. It comes out of nowhere. And it's because this content is sponsored. And so people are paid to make content about eyebrow blindness. It's messed up. People literally get paid to popularize a trend. People also do this with other trends, not just like body and beauty stuff. For example, Lizzo got a lot of flack maybe a year and a half ago when her song, like, I think it's called About Time, or like About Damn Time, but it's like, it's about damn time. That one blew up overnight on TikTok, and then it came to be found out that they paid a bunch of people to make content with that song when it first came out to make it seem like everyone's loving it. And the assignment that people will get, they don't have to be large creators, they can have a couple hundred followers, is like, hey, we'll give you $100, or hey, we'll give you a coupon, or hey, we'll give you something if you just post a video of you using this product or listening to this song and having a good time, or just talking about it for 30 seconds. And so we have beauty standards that become sponsored. And that's how they get popular. And that's how they all of a sudden feel like this truth of like, how did I not see my eyebrow blindness before? All of a sudden, everyone's talking about it. So we literally have sponsored beauty standards. That one just freaks me out. It is so crazy how powerful social media is in that way. There's 3 other things I want to talk to you about. One of them being video editing and Photoshop. And I'll show you an example, I think from my own Instagram that I have here, if I can get my little tabs to move properly. Yeah. So I have this video. I posted this on Instagram a long time ago. And you can watch it as I'm talking, but it basically shows how I'm using a free app, like a free app. Actually, maybe I paid $10 for it for the month. I'm using basically a very low cost tool to change how my body looks and what my face looks like in a video. So you can see how in the video I look different. And yeah, you can tell that because you know what I look like and you can see it side by side. But if you didn't know me, and I actually took more than 5 minutes to do this stuff because I did it very quickly, I could make this look extremely realistic to you. And I could make these changes so subtle that you would not know. Again, this is a very low cost tool, and I did this in 5 minutes, and I barely know what I'm doing. It is very, very easy to manipulate these things. And the reason that I say that is because I want you to be skeptical at all times. Not so much skeptical that you can't believe anything you see on the internet, but I want you to really question and talk back to those negative thoughts when they come up. So when you see a video with a girl with a great bum or like a snatched waist or something else that you think you should have or you wish you had, and those thoughts come in of like, oh, I wish I looked different, I just want you to slow down, ask yourself where that came from. Maybe it's someone in your past. Maybe it's the magazines you read when you were growing up. Maybe it's a sponsored trend that makes you hate your eyebrows. And just be a little bit more conversational, curious, and then probably a little bit more aggressive talking back to those thoughts. But the video editing stuff, you guys, is crazy. Like, think about how they color correct, so like adjust the colors on movies. That's a great example of a situation where they have technology and professionals who are much more skilled than me with my little iPhone, like editing what my body looks like in a video. And so when you see things from influencers, celebrities, actors, like anybody in the public eye in any way, you've got all of the in-person changes that they've made, whether that is makeup or personal stylist that chooses their wardrobe, or enhancements like lip fillers or Botox, or cosmetic procedures like a rhinoplasty, a nose job. You see all of that stuff that happens in person, and then you see all of the stuff that happens with technology. Technology is beautiful, but it is also terrifying how much you can do if you're not aware that it can be done. So, video Photoshop, scary thing. Question everything. Again, I'm a very low-skill video editor, and I could have made this look a lot more realistic if I tried. I still think it looks kind of realistic if you didn't know what I look like. With this technology, though, is professional retouching in photography. So a fun fact, one of my close friends is a professional photographer. He's been in the industry for like 20 years. He shoots for large companies, like pretty famous ones, very cool. But he also does a lot of photography retouching in the meantime. Basically what that means is taking photos, and it's so crazy. He's got this like huge computer screen, and he works in the middle of the night because it needs to be as dark as possible so it can be super accurate. But he has this super bright screen in a dark room, and he has these pictures pulled up and zoomed in so close, and then he retouches like every single pore. People who do this professionally know what they're doing, get paid a lot of money to do it, and they have insane technology. So I have an example that I want to share with you here, and this is literally Google Images. Like, it is so easy to find examples of this. This is an example from someone who's listed on a website called Fiverr, which is like anyone can post their work there, which we love Fiverr, but this is not someone at such a high level as the friend that I'm describing. And in the first photo on the left, she looks like gorgeous, right? Like, she's got, like, you can see her highlight around her T area. Her eyes are a nice bright color. Her lips look like she's got like some sort of gloss. You can kind of see the definition. There's nice contrast with her hair. And then the photo on the right doesn't look crazy different, but it just looks really professional, right? Like, it looks really enhanced. It looks really sharp. Her lips look gorgeous. I don't know how to describe it, but they're just so defined, but look so soft at the same time. Like, the little spot of like highlight right on the tip of her nose is beautiful. Her freckles have been enhanced. The like lines under her eyes have been lessened. It is such simple stuff, but people spend hours and hours and hours doing this. And almost every image that you see, especially from celebrities, has been retouched. Even if it's like the Getty images, they went to the Met Gala or something like that, and it's like the pictures of them walking up the stairs. Those photos, even though they look candid, are edited. Yeah, babe, go ahead and hop off. You can always catch the recording. It's gonna be a good one. Have a lovely day, though. So good to see you. But yeah, so we have retouching in photography, which again, people have full-time jobs out of. And then last but not least, the newest one that freaks me out the most is anything to do with AI and photos, so artificial intelligence and photos. And I have just like an example YouTube video here. I use a YouTube video because I want to encourage you to look into this more, because artificial intelligence is something that is new and emerging. And so there's going to be a lot of changes, a lot of developments in it. But I also just want to show, like, if you look in the sidebar when I zoom out, how many tutorials there are on how common this is, like how to basically like go viral when you're doing this. Create AI influencer in 4 minutes is the title of this, which is crazy. These are tutorials for the average person. These are not tutorials for professionals in this field. This is how the average person can make a completely fake image online. And so with the sound off, I will literally just show you what this quote unquote influencer looks like. Because yeah, she's super hot, but like, I don't know about you, that looks like a real person to me. She's super hot. She really fits the beauty standard in a lot of ways, and she's got pink hair, so not super common, but she looks like a person that could totally exist. And her image is 100% manufactured. If you couple this with the video editing, like, you best believe that video AI is also extremely popular. You can find so many videos of AI models, and they're talking and they're moving and the camera's moving around them, and it is terrifyingly realistic. The reason that this is so scary is because a lot of people are using AI in like a fun way, and they're showing like, look, I can change the background of my photo, or I can edit something small in. But the true extent to what this can do is just not known to a lot of people. So when you see, if you ever see like, you're looking at like a dress on Amazon, for example, and you're scrolling through the different colors and you notice they photoshopped the dress to just be every color. Like, it's the exact same picture, but they just have photoshopped it over and over. I think that's what people think of when they think of like Photoshop, or even like AI being able to do that now. But this kind of stuff is what we're actually dealing with, and it's going to get more and more extreme. It's also really common to, unfortunately, steal someone's likeness and their voice and take videos of them, like content creators, and just Photoshop or use AI to change their mouth, and then use all these videos of them talking to create a new script. And so it's them, it's a video of them, but it's not them. I saw this poor girl who this happened to on TikTok, and she's a creator who talks about nothing to do with like gastrointestinal issues, and someone was stealing her likeness and making like videos of her talking about being constipated and like taking some pill just to sell something. And it wasn't her, but it was AI that was changing how she talks. So it's crazy. It's a whole rabbit hole that you can go down with this kind of stuff. And it really, really is crazy. So it's something to be really aware of, something to learn more about, and something to pay attention to, because it's an industry that's so new and therefore will be evolving over time. So it'll just get stronger and stronger. Our resilience to it and recognition of it needs to as well. So we have the video editing, the professional retouching, the AI, and then those sponsored beauty trends. Those are the 4 main things that I want you to be aware of right now. I want to give that awareness so that we can navigate the digital world with a little bit more clarity. But the other thing that I want to share is, even with all of this stuff in mind, we are still going to compare ourselves a lot of times. And the reason that we do that is because, again, the comparison is hitting on like a little bit of an emotional wavelength, maybe not a logical one. So logically, we know nothing we see on the internet is real, which is a terrifying thought in itself. But emotionally, it taps into something that we're not feeling maybe fully satisfied with in ourselves. I am the type that doesn't compare my body so much anymore, but I will compare achievements and people's like perceived life, I guess. And that's the perfectionist and the people pleaser in me that makes me feel like my life should look a certain way. And I compare it to other people. And that really takes an emotional toll. It has an emotional impact on us. So This is what perpetuates the perfectionism. It can also make our self-esteem a lot lower, and it makes us less satisfied with our physical bodies. So if we have body image as one of our goals, this worsens your body image because you're constantly thinking about how you're not good enough versus thinking about how you are good enough as you are. It makes it a lot harder to have wellness habits and self-care practices that come from a place of self-love instead of a place of comparison and judgment and self-hate. So this is why we have media literacy. And again, I used that term in the beginning, but what it means is just knowing how to recognize these tactics for what they are, which is marketing tools, not reflections of reality. With our media literacy, again, I want to encourage that skepticism. I also want you to look for disclosure. What I mean by that is like check if it says a post is sponsored. Sometimes they'll sneak that little teeny tiny like hashtag ad at the very end, or they'll put it in like a pinned comment. Again, people are also frequently not disclosing stuff that I know is sponsored as someone in the social media space. There are certain brands that are so heavy on the influencer marketing that they've emailed me 1,000 times, and I'm not interested because I'm not an influencer, I'm a business owner. But they just offer the free product and say, just tag us. And so it's gifted, it's not technically sponsored. And that's just one of those loopholes. But look for if it is disclosed that it's sponsored, even if it's not. If you keep seeing a product like that Bloom Nutrition Greens powder that's all over the internet in the health wellness space, or Athletic Greens, which has rebranded to like AG1 as their brand name. I actually like Athletic Greens, but the only reason I've ever tried it is because someone gave it to me because they got it for free. Just Google like what their relationship with influencer marketing is. A lot of times you'll hear about it. Like the Bloom Nutrition one apparently tastes absolutely terrible and makes your stomach hurt. And if you look it up, it's not on their website in the reviews because they delete their bad reviews. But it is in like Reddit threads of like, yeah, they tried to offer me X amount of product or dollars to do this. And that's how you can have some more media literacy before you make purchases, before you're influenced, literally influenced by things that you see online. There's another tip with our media literacy and reducing our comparison, increasing our self-acceptance, that I don't think enough people talk about, but I think that it is the future of our world. And that is not just to curate your feed, like, yes, unfollow people that make you feel like shit. I will support you in doing that till the day I die. But use your phone as a place to grow and learn. I mentioned in the beginning that I don't really believe in this concept of like, just get off your phone and go outside, which please get off your phone and go outside. But we live in a world that's technologically dependent. And so we've never experienced this before, but realistically, the future of our world is cell phones and smartphones and social media, at least for the time being. So if you don't want to compare yourself so much, take back power of this device. Instead of forcing yourself to put it in a drawer and think about it the whole time you're climbing a tree, which we love climbing trees, it can be very distracting from the comparison. Use your phone as a place to grow and learn. So for example, I have all of like my like silly fun apps. So I have an app that teaches me like the flags of the world. I live in an international place, so I need to understand where people are from. I have Duolingo and other language learning apps. I have Sudoku and crossword puzzles to challenge my mind. I use my phone as a place to grow and learn in that way. We also have our online club. The reason I created Balanced Baddies Club, both the free version and the membership version, is because we need a place that's online to connect with people who are not with us in person, but are not on social media. So use apps like School. There's other communities there, but use clubs like Balanced Baddies Club that are literally there to get you off of social media, but still connecting with people from all over the world. And then meet those people in real life. That's our next step. But yeah, let's get off of socials and just eventually try and lessen our screen time. But again, I don't want you to feel like you're not allowed to be on your phone because you just compare yourself so much. It doesn't really stop us from comparing. It doesn't heal the root of the problem. When we are on social media, though, let's focus on our journey. Let's really focus on your unique path. And like I said from the very start, take little grains of sand from the things you see. Don't take the whole beach, leave some sand for somebody else, but take little nuggets of wisdom and see how they fit into your life versus trying to fit your life into this image of what you think it should be or what you see online. And with that, have some chances for positive reflection towards yourself. So when you catch yourself being really self-critical, give yourself an opportunity to slow down your thoughts, work on that negative self-talk that comes up a lot. We have a lot of resources in the classroom about this as well. And just find something within yourself that you love that has nothing to do with what you look like. I know it sounds a little bit like, but I like to give you actual tangible action steps, and that is something small that you can get in the habit of doing, because when you start noticing it more and more, the things that you like about yourself, the easier it is to be kind. So that is the bulk of what I have for us today. I wanted to leave some space for questions. So if you have any questions and want to share them out loud or chat them in, please do. I would love to answer anything about my experience as someone in the social media world, or anything about what I said. And then I'm also going to pull up a question that I know I got in the messages about this. But yeah, if you have any thoughts, then please share. Okay, the question. Taking a break from social media in a way that allows you to come back to it and feel really comfortable and good in how you use this interface. So doing a social media detox actually works, requires us to have a really clear intention on why we're doing it. So example, if I take space from social media, it's probably because I'm realizing, am I frozen? Can you hear me okay?
You're unfrozen now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. But yeah, so taking a social media detox that actually works. But yeah, just having a really clear intention of why you're doing it, and not so much being like, I just need to get off my phone, but really, again, setting an intention, just like we did at the beginning of this call, and asking yourself what you want to feel before, during, and after. That's always what I like to do, is set a quick little intention. I usually write things down in my journal, and I write down, like, how am I feeling now, and how do I want that to change? What do I want to focus on when I'm not on social media? And then, like, kind of outlining how long I want to be off of it. And then how do I want to feel when I come back? Usually how I want to feel when I come back is just refreshed. I find that whenever I take a break from social media, it's usually a really positive thing. And I usually come back and I realize that I didn't miss anything while I was gone. Like, you really don't miss anything. As much as is shared, there's nothing like the real world. And it's hard to miss stuff that you didn't even know kind of was happening. Maybe you missed some stuff on, like, what's going on in Love is Blind or Love Island, but, like, they do recaps of that for a reason. But yeah, so that's my very simple advice on how to do a social media detox that actually works. I got another question too that was really good. Let me find it really quick. Oh, I loved this one because it was directly related to all of the people that are or will be watching this call for the most part. But it's, how do I transition from spending so much time on social media scrolling to using an app like a club like Balance Buddies, an app like Balance Buddies, but a club, that helps me learn. I feel like I don't prioritize myself. That in itself is Hello. My Wi-Fi broke. I'm on my phone now. Um, I was in the middle of answering a very important question, and then Zoom was like, not today. But anyway, the question was, how do I go from essentially knowing that I struggle to prioritize myself and scrolling on social media instead to using an app, a club like Balance Baddies, where I actually learn stuff and take care of myself. And I was saying that the essence of that is in the question, which is I struggle to prioritize myself. And the suggestion that I'll give is twofold. On the daily basis, make a habit of just opening the app. Like let that be it. And once you open the app, go in whatever direction you want, do whatever you want, but just get in the habit of opening the app. Once you open it, it's like once you get dressed for the gym, you're so much more likely to go. Maybe it's not perfectly easy, but you're so much more likely. So that's your kind of daily, like just get in the habit of opening it. And then maybe from there, sending one message or commenting on one post or watching one video in the classroom. There's so much amazing resources and stuff to learn that you eventually become in the habit of taking care of yourself. That is what this club is an easy way for you to consistently show yourself love. The bigger picture that I'll recommend in the process, though, is understanding why it is so difficult for you to prioritize yourself. So a lot of people struggle with this. I've definitely struggled with this in the past. I struggle to prioritize myself personally because I'm a perfectionist and because I'm a people pleaser. So the perfectionism comes out in taking care of myself and actually self-sabotages me because I'm worried that I won't take perfect care of myself. I won't do the perfect workout at the gym. I won't get the perfect mile time if I go on a run. I won't do my skincare routine perfectly because I don't have enough time. Whatever it is. I won't say the perfect thing if I set a boundary. I don't even do it at all because if I can't do it perfectly, I can't take how it feels to realize that I'm imperfect. And so that was something I really had to confront with my perfectionism was how is this actually stopping me from doing all of the things that I tell myself I should be doing in the first place. It's the self-fulfilling prophecy. With the people pleasing, we so often put other people's needs above our own. And so if you identify as people pleaser, we're relying on boundaries and saying no to things that we don't want to do. And we are examining why we feel like our worth comes from how we take care of other people. And so we're releasing some of the perfectionism and the people pleasing so that we can be a lot stronger at taking good care of ourselves and putting ourselves first. Okay, those are all my thoughts. I think that is all of the questions I got outside of this as well that I really wanted to answer for the group. And I hope that this has been interesting and helpful. It's a really crazy topic, and there's so much more I could share. So if anyone watching the recording as well has questions about this, I have so much that I could share, so much I want to talk about. Send me the stuff you see on social media. I love to talk about some of the bullshit on there. But that's everything I have for us today. This has been wonderful. It's a call I'm really excited for us to keep having conversations about. And I will talk to you very soon. Okay. All right. I'm going to let us go. Good night, good evening, good day, I guess, for anybody watching this at different times. But good night for me. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon. All right. Bye.